Welcome to the Education Exchange. I'm your host, Superintendent Jeremy Calles, here at the Tolleson Union High School District, and we have a great podcast for you today. I have with me our proud principal over at West Point. Brandi, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Brandi Haskins. I am the proud principal at West Point High School. Proud to be here celebrating our A.
All right, so oops, you've done it again. You guys are an A for the second year in a row. I mean, the the first year, magnificent accomplishment. First comprehensive high school that we have that was able to earn an A. We've had that long-standing A with University High, but out of the comprehensive campuses, you were the first one. Broke the threshold. We have La Jolla following in your footsteps this year. But that second year, right? The year that you proved that it wasn't a fluke, that it wasn't just a good batch of students that came through the system, where it is that you actually have a good system running there at West Point. What does that mean to you?
Gosh, it means so many things. First is tradition is everything. And once something happens a second time, now you have a tradition and it's not the one off, it's not a surprise, it's this is what we do. So for our students and our staff, they now see that as tradition. It's also fun now out in the community when we go out and we visit the elementary schools for different events, and their principals and their staff and their students talk to us about it. Are you an A school? Yes, we're an A school. It's our second year. I've had one of the principals at one of our elementary schools that comes to us tell her students, that's an A school. They expect you to do your best when you get there. And that's, I think, what it means when you get into the habit of achieving something like that.
So, really establishing that culture, that expectation for success. Any strategies that went into play for this year or this past year to keep you on track with maintaining that A? Because now that you have some of your colleagues, following in your footsteps, they're going to need to know what's the secret sauce.
I wish there was a secret sauce. I truly believe it's about everybody believing in the power of what we do for students and providing them every opportunity we can. We can't control some of the circumstances. What we're able to do with dual enrollment has to do with the amazing teachers that we have that are dual enrollment certified. So yes, that's on our plan, so to speak, of if a teacher were to leave us that has a dual enrollment certificate, we are looking for someone to come in to be able to continue to offer those things. We also think about that in adding new clubs and opportunities for students because we know the more connected they are to campus, the better that they're going to do in all aspects of their life. They're going to achieve in the area of interest, but they're also going to do well academically because they feel connected to the school. So we talk a lot about A. We use A. When you did the introduction with the A grade, we talk about A all the time. Is A schools do this? A schools do this regularly.
So anyone who's planning to attend West Point should definitely brush up on all of their adjectives that start with the letter A, so they're ready to fit right in there with the culture and keep harnessing those A's.
We keep joking about bringing your A game every day.
There you go. Well, now you've accomplished this 2 years in a row now. What's next? What's next on the horizon for West Point? What's next in terms of other things that you guys want to pursue? Are you looking at A plus with the Arizona Education Foundation? Like what is the next step?
Gosh, there's a lot of next steps. One of them is we have a lot of programs that are right on the edge of doing some things. And so we want to continue to support those programs as they move forward. Some of our CTE programs are starting to develop year after year, students that go to the next level and succeed either as leaders or as participants. As you know, we had great success with our unified sports. That's been a great, it's been a great, I want to say, work in progress between our staff and our students, and it's brought such joy to the campus that the fact that they won that state championship, that was just kind of the cherry on top, but it really was bringing already a great just a feeling tone to campus about how we all work together. We're looking at that A plus process to see if that's something that we feel like we can be successful in. We've already got some people on campus as a committee looking at that to see if that's our next step. Um, and then just trying to find how can we provide more things to students. We know that not every student is finding a way to connect with school, and how do we do that? So now we're kind of digging in and saying, here's the success we're having with one group of students, and how do we spread that to everyone so that everyone feels that that school is their home and that they're growing, they're contributing, and they're making some memories there.
Talk about building a culture for success. You touched on how unified state championship, very, very monumental. Their first year in AIA, and
Mhm.
they win the state
Mhm. Mhm.
championship in flag football right there in front of Cardinals Stadium with
Mhm.
some
Mhm.
Cardinals alumni and cheerleaders out there at the event. That's amazing. So you're really providing things for all students. You have the unified being very successful, but on the other end of the spectrum, you also have the Leadership Academy
Mhm.
bringing out some of the best in some of your students. Talk about, like, how does the Leadership Academy fit into the overall vision and the overall success for the school by having that program also available at the campus?
It's a nice complement to, as schools, you want to make sure that you're providing academic rigor to all students and pushing them to the highest levels that they want to succeed at. And so that's why we do the dual enrollment. That's why we do the AP. By taking the Leadership Academy, we're able to now kind of concentrate some efforts. So students are taking all advanced classes along with some electives, and they're getting some structured support in the skills that they need so that when they hit the ground at a university, they're ready to run. Whether it's learning how to collaborate in a group to create study groups, right? When students get to college and they've got to meet new people and they're in these courses and it is challenging and it's a new environment. How do you connect? How do you give back to your community? How do you find ways to get involved? Working in the Leadership Academy, they're able to really hone in on that and then celebrate the hard work. So they're really developing the whole student in that process. It's a challenging curriculum. They are taking all advanced classes for 4 years, but when they leave us, they're leaving us with millions of dollars in scholarships and choices about where they'd like to go to college. And that to me is it's the gift of that, because we know that they're ready to go so that when they leave and they make the choice about what is the right fit for them, they're going to be prepared to do that. It's great for our students to also see that if they're willing to take that risk, if they're willing to say, I am committed to taking these advanced classes, I'm going to get these supports from the Leadership Academy, from Mr. Washington and his amazing staff of teachers who are going to make sure students are successful. And that wraparound is really fun to watch, to see some students come in as freshmen, maybe with not a lot of confidence that they can do the academic work. And by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're leading on campus.
So, from the outside looking in, see nothing but success. Beautiful campus. You have the unified championship. You have the second year in a row of the A letter grade. You have the Leadership Academy doing great things for students. You have, um, some of the other specialized programs over there also doing very well. But I know we can all tend to be our own worst critic, and when we look and reflect on ourselves, we're like, yeah, I know I'm doing great in these things, but these other things, I still want to work on. What are those things for you? What are some of the things where you're like, I still want to see us get better in these other areas, and I'm planning on trying to work on goals to further develop those things. Is there anything else you're trying to still add to the campus? Anything else you're still trying to cultivate and grow out there at the campus? Other areas of success that you want to bring out of the campus?
Well, there's two that are on my mind right now because we're going to be working on them today as a staff during our early release professional development. One is talking about how do we now target and identify our students who are not connected yet, because if they're not already involved in a co-curricular activity, we just had a huge first time guitar concert last night, filled the pack. And that's the first time that our guitar teacher has taken all of those guitar 1, 2, and 3, 4 classes and put them together on the stage, just like you do for dance or for band. They now have their spotlight. I want to find that spotlight for all students. So now we need to really look at who doesn't have something they're connected to and how do we try to find those things for students, because we're a big campus. We should be able to find an activity, something for every student to be involved in. So that's on our mind about how do we do that. And then the second thing is proficiency. We're going to be working on this afternoon a data dig into some of the data we already have from this fall, our pre ACT scores, last year's ACT Aspire, our EOCAs from last spring, to start to look at how we can be more specific and more targeted with what we're doing in the classroom so that all of our students are gaining in proficiency. Because with that ACT being that state test, the best part of it for our students is that's their college entrance test. And even if they're not sure that they want to go to college their first year out of high school, if they walk away from West Point High School with a strong ACT score, it gives them choices. And I feel like that's our responsibility as a school, is to provide our students with lots of choices when they leave us, that they have options, they have passions, they have interests, and that we've helped those. So I would say right now we're looking at that student connectedness, but also how do we continue to increase proficiency in everything, all the way from an AP class to a regular freshman math class. How can we help all of our students be more successful?
Well, those are two fabulous goals. I tell you, as a parent, the first one really connects with me. When you, for all parents who have introvert students, maybe who do just fine academically, kind of slip through the cracks, don't really, ever connect with the school, never really have that chance of someone pushing them and helping them, blossom and develop out their gifts and pursue things that are their passion. The fact that you guys are trying to filter that out, find it, figure out what their interests are and encourage them to go after something that's in line with their interests. That's amazing. And then reminding students, yes, that the you want to keep that door open. Like, why close the door to college? Even if you don't think that's what you want today, doing great on the ACT, making sure that you're going to have scholarship opportunities possibly available for you, even if it's not right after high school. Like, being able to make sure you have that nice window open, that you don't have to take remedial classes if later on because you've already achieved so well. Couple of great goals right there. Uh, for all of our families out there now that are future dragons, and they're looking at becoming future dragons, what else would you want to let them know? I mean, obviously they see the A letter grade, and you've shared now how you have a path for every student. But what other things would you like them to know about what it's like to come out there to West Point and be a dragon?
You know, there's something special when you have a group of staff that have come together and opened a school. And even though we've grown tremendously since year one, so we have a lot of new staff that have come on, they've been able to share with each other that idea that this is just what we do. And we expect everyone to do well. We expect students to do well. If I, as a parent, that's what I would want to hear from my students' school, that regardless of who your student is and what they're interested in, they may be an athlete, they may be a performer, they may be an academic, they may be into technology, whatever it is, that we want to help them be successful at that. I think the other piece is our students are now developing their own culture of student leadership. We watch our students now, both on campus and off campus, developing. We're West Point. We want to go represent the school. We want to go do things that are maybe new, maybe try something that schools have not done before. And that's exciting to watch as well. So we hope that as parents are looking in at West Point, that they're able to see that. We just had our first of two future freshman nights. We do one in the fall and then we do one in February, so that parents have an opportunity to come on campus. And parents still, part of that night is a tour of campus. And when parents see the hallways where big windows, I can walk down the breezeway and the hallway in classrooms and see what's going on every day. When they get a picture for how open that feels to students, you can't hear anything. Classrooms are you in the hallway, it's quiet, classrooms are working, but it does feel open. And so even though it's a big school, it doesn't always feel like a big school. When the bell rings and they go in their classroom, it's 30 students and a teacher, and they get down to business about whatever it is. And I feel really strongly that we've shown success. Doesn't mean that there aren't things we can do better. There are always things we can do better, and we work on that. But if there are folks out there thinking that West Point might be the place for them, we encourage them to contact us, come visit, come meet with our folks, and see the great things that we're doing.
Well, that's definitely a great way to ensure that cycle of success when speaking to how you shared there that the upperclassmen are now sharing with the underclassmen of the expectation of success. This is Dragons. Dragons has that nice big A in the middle. This is what we do. Like, that is a great way to keep that tradition going and that culture going. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing with our listeners everything that's being done at West Point and why it's such a great school for anyone to consider going to go be a part of all of the future A's that are going to be earned by the West Point Dragons.
Registration is open. We're open enrollment. We're always happy to bring people in and make them part of Dragon Nation.
All right. And we appreciate our listeners for tuning in once again to the Education Exchange. where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Education Exchange. Have a question or want to be a guest on our podcast? Email podcast@tuhsd.org for more information. Missed an episode? Catch all seasons of the Education Exchange on your favorite streaming platforms or at www.tuhsd.org/podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Education Exchange.